on April 11th to have some work done on my truck. And I paid nearly $1,200 because they did some lights. So I want to explain about these lights. I had just regular factory installed regular bulbs on my truck, and on my fog lights specifically, they installed what's called HID. I wanted bright lights. I wanted like white lights on my headlights. So when I went into the business, I just basically said, look, I want some bright lights on my headlights right up there. And what I know about is LEDs. And so they basically upsold me. They said, you know, we have what's called HIDs, and they're very bright. And I said, well, that's what I want. And he said, well, the caveat to HIDs is that sometimes in some vehicles or some applications, HIDs will flicker or they'll go out or whatever. And so I said, well, what are the chances of that? And they're like, well, we don't really know. And, you know, it's kind of hit and miss. And so anyway, it's an upcharge because it's an up sale. HIDs are more expensive than the LEDs. So I'm like, okay, you know, let's do this. And they said, well, why don't we put them in the fog lights first? If they work out in the fog lights, then we can go ahead and put them in the headlights. And I said, okay, sounds good. So a couple months, I don't even know what it was, a couple months. I know a couple months later, April, May, June. I think it was June that I went by there because I don't drive this truck very often. And on the warranty, it said that there's only a 90-day warranty on lights. And I didn't even recognize that, and that's my bad. But regardless, because I don't drive it very much, eventually those lights did flicker. In fact, I think it was the driver's side that was flickering. So I had to make an appointment and, you know, waste half of my day and Uber over there and Uber back and spend a lot of time having my truck in their shop for, I think it was about 4 hours I had to wait. Eventually, the guy who does the lights there couldn't figure out what the problem was. So they have, and I didn't know anything about HIDs, I do now, high intensity something or another. You can Google it, but I didn't know about them. And so they have a ballast. And so what he did, just because he couldn't figure out what the problem was, he changed out the ballast on both the driver's side and the passenger side. And so that seemed to solve the problem, of course, because, you know, the bulbs weren't out. He checked the bulbs and they weren't out, so they must be the ballast. And I guess just by default, he decided to change them both out, just in case I had a problem with the other one, which is okay. And again, I don't drive the truck very often. So it was probably a month and a half or 2 months later that, which side was flickering? I think it was the driver's side. Then this side started flickering, and that side went completely out. And again, I'm very, very busy in my work, so I wasn't able to get by the shop in any time that would honor the warranty, because the warranty kicks in when you buy the lights, I guess, and not when you have any type of service done. So we're already into September by the time I get there, the end of September, and I have, you know, my complaint, and they basically are saying, well, you're out of warranty. And I said, but what I want to be able to do is just be good again. If you could just take those lights out completely, because I don't want to keep on hassling coming in and out of your shop and making appointments and blah, blah, blah. Well, let's have a look at, well, I don't have the truck here right now, you see, I don't drive it very often, but I just want to be made whole again. Just take those things out completely. And I didn't even ask for a refund. I didn't even say, hey, give me the refund for what I spent on the labor and the lights. All I asked for was to be made whole again. So then they said to me, well, we got to charge you labor. And I said, labor for what? Just to take them out and make me whole again? No. Tell you what I'll do, okay? Now, what they should have done at that point is said, you know what, let us just order you some LED lights. You know, they're $100 for a set. and we'll put them in and make you the way you were when you spent your $1,200. Now understand, the whole $1,200 wasn't just for the lights. What they should have done is just offered for what I spent with them already, is to order the lights, have them come in, have an appointment set up, and then just eat the labor and the cost of the $100, and then just make me, you know, as if it never even happened. That's what they should have done, in my opinion. At the very least, they should have just made me whole again by putting in my old setup. They were very argumentative, especially the guy that I was dealing with. He just wanted to argue with me. Everything I said was interrupted by everything that he felt was important, meaning that my my warranty was out of date. He lied and said that I ordered the HIDs, which I did not, because I didn't know about HIDs. He upsold me on them, which is fine. And I told them money wasn't the issue. I should be a satisfied customer at the end of the $1,200. And even if it means, you know, that I'm over the 90 days, and all I'm asking is for, look, these guys make a lot of money. They're kind of high-end stereo place, and you know, in a given day, they're probably making upwards of 5 to 10 grand, maybe less. But I'm just saying, to spend $100 and a little bit of labor, which cost nothing for them, to make me whole again, is all I wanted. And so when he mentioned, and again, very argumentative, the manager came out. Oh, by the way, in this particular shop, and I don't know that I can get video of it or not, they have a camera way up on the ceiling area that looks down on the cash register area. So the manager's in the back watching the camera and listening to the conversation, and he finally comes out and he tries his best to be accommodating, because he's telling the guy, you know, quit arguing, quit arguing, quit arguing, but he continues to argue with me. And then finally the manager said, you know, well, we're kind of done here, and he walked away. So I'm telling the guy, look, if you're going to charge me for labor just to make me whole again, that's messed up. You guys should have a better customer service model than this. There's a lot of bad complaints. There are some good ones, but there's a lot of bad complaints about this place, in line with what I'm talking about, not out of line. That noise. Obviously the noise doesn't bother me when I'm driving. So that's the light that actually went out. I misspoke on that, but so that's the light that went out completely. And I don't know if it's the ballast or the bulb itself. This light comes on, but when I drive down the road, it flickers. And you can clearly see it flicker because it's low to the ground. So I don't like the lights. And more of the complaint to the business, because there's a lot of people who are on my channel that aren't in Metro Atlanta area, is stay away from HIDs. You know, I don't know the reason they're supposedly brighter if you Google them. I don't see the difference. I don't see that these lights are any brighter than my other lights. You know, they work in combination, which, you know, is the whole point. But, you know, you can clearly see that that's about the same intensity as that. In fact, I think those are even brighter. And then those are bright too. So a little follow-up. Yesterday, I had gone to the Toyota dealership to have my the HIDs, the crap HIDs that they sold me that are failing. I went to have those swapped out because I wanted it done professionally. So there is a plastic cover that covers this whole area, and they took off the cover. But before they did that, and this is all the stuff that has to do with HIDs. I don't know if you can see it. So whatever this little module is, and then all this wiring, and this thing, whatever that is, well, that's the harness. But all of this stuff has to do with the HIDs. Whereas with the LEDs that I have, it's just a very simple plug-in on the harness. But they wouldn't change them out because look at that. I have water in my light. And I don't know why I have water in my light. I never had water in my light before. So something that they did. Now, the mechanic who came to show me this said, I'm not going to put in your new lights that you brought me, because if I do that, they might burn out. And I don't know if LEDs would burn out or not, but HIDs definitely would, because they're still basically gas type of bulbs, and they get very hot. High intensity is part of the HID term. So there are two things that happen. I don't know which it is. How you possibly get water inside of your housing when you have all this stuff that's on top of it, I have no idea how water got in there. But we surmise there's a couple of ways. Since there's that plastic cover on the back here, I don't know how water could have gotten through that plastic cover and into here. There's only two ways water could get in here. One is literally where the bulb, you know, it doesn't screw and it kind of locks in. There's a little rubber gasket, an O-ring, and that O-ring is supposed to stop any water from getting in there. So of course you have that hole in the back of the housing, and that's the only way water can get in there, except if you have a crack in the housing. And the housing on this is all plastic, by the way, it's not glass. Because it's all plastic, it's very possible that the HIDs cracked the plastic somewhere above there, or somewhere, obviously it would have to be above the water line. But so what I'm suggesting and what I'm thinking is that HIDs are not meant for a plastic housing application like this. And so that they actually sold me HIDs and then went ahead and put them in knowing that the housing was plastic, beget my water issue. Now, what I'm running into now is I have two, well, and also this thing is loose, and it shouldn't be loose. So I don't know why it's loose. I don't know if my other one is loose too. Yeah, that one's loose too. So the mechanic is telling me they shouldn't be loose. And since I've never messed with them, and the only person that messed with them is Sound Sensations, I don't know if they whatever they did, they caused my my lights to be loose, and they also caused this water leak. One way or another, I never had water in there before. My original fog lights worked, and I never had water in there. The fog lights also are gas-filled bulbs, and they would have burned out if I had ever had water in there, and they were working prior to Sound Sensations doing what they did. So the conundrum I'm in is I could either drill out and hopefully get all that water out of there so I don't have that bulb issue burning out with the new bulbs, or I can have them replace the housing. The problem with that is the housing, meaning this whole plastic thing, which is relatively small and it's plastic, costs $260. That's not even the labor, that's just for the part. And then probably another $60, $70 for the labor to have that put in. So I'm out, amongst all the other money that I'm out, the $300 for them putting in the crappy HIDs, there's $300 out that I'm out, then another $100 for the new bulbs, then potentially another $260 for the new housing, and then whatever labor they're going to charge me to put those in. So first things first, rather than go through expense after expense after expense, because this is getting very pricey, there is a way up under the housing. You can see the housing in the back of here. There's a way that I can get a drill bit up under there and drill a hole on the bottom to stop the water buildup inside of there, but it still doesn't answer the question, how does the water get in there to begin with? So I don't know. Had Sound Sensations been on point and at least have taken a look at all these issues, maybe they would have come up with a solution. Alright, so I managed to get a long drill bit and I drilled a hole. I don't know if you can see, but I drilled a hole in the bottom which evacuated all the water out of there, and then I put it in the new bulb, and it's just a twist type of thing, and works great. So that's actually I still have a little bit of water at the bottom here, but however I'm getting water in there, which I have no idea how that's happening, however I'm getting water in there, having that hole there at the bottom will take care of that. I don't want to spend $260 for a piece of plastic, because that's all that is. But check this out. This is the wiring harness. This is what they sold me. This is HID. So it has a ballast, which I explained early in the video. When they change out the ballast, I guess they thought that would take care of the problem. So that's the ballast. I don't know what that is. And then you have the harness for the light, and then has one little weird, yeah, when water got in there, I'm sure that shorted that whole thing out. As opposed to this thing, which all it is this part here, and then the harness itself that it plugs into. Then, in addition, look at the brightness of the light. This is a HID. I don't know how well that shows up. That's the HID, and that's the LED. And I actually think the LED is brighter than the HID. And then here's the other weird thing. This is still the HID. Listen. Little buzzing noise. I don't know. Maybe that's the ballast buzzing. I don't have that on this side. So the end result is HIDs suck. And why they upsold me on this piece of crap, I have no idea. But it is a piece of crap. Okay, I'm at the Sound Sensations place of business. So if any of you guys want to come to Sound Sensations to get something done, I suggest you think twice about it. Having a problem is where you need to know that the business is taking care of you. So what I'm suggesting is that every business model is only as good as their after-sale service. Their only concern is about money. And even to the point of the little $100 that I was talking about, the $100 for a set of lights is not a big deal, right?
It's your responsibility.
You never told me that.
I did tell you that.
We're gonna get this guy's side because this is a guy who sold me $1,200 worth of stuff and won't foot the bill for $100 to make me whole.
We told you it was a bad idea. You insisted on putting the lights in.
Didn't even know what they were. You told me about it.
Of course not. You're saying that now. And it also is noted on your warranty because we know that they have
90 days.
Yes.
Yes.
You are correct. Outside of your warranty
You are correct. No, I didn't.
Yes,
that's not true. I came in within my warranty and they changed out the ballast.
Do you want me to print your receipt?
They changed out the ballast.
And then you can show that on your camera.
They changed the ballast. Over a month later, I came in and they changed the ballast. That's when the warranty starts, not when I bought the stuff.
No, we informed you ahead of time how the warranty works with
90 days.
Absolutely.
Okay.
90 days from the initial install because they're problematic, which is why I recommended that you not do it.
How much does the light cost?
We shouldn't have to take on the financial burden on something outside of warranty when you were recommended not to do it and it was noted on your receipt.
So how much does the lights cost?
They were probably $250.
And then the labor?
No, that's everything. You paid $99 for the lights, $150 to have them installed.
Okay.
Against my recommendations, you had this done.
And so when...
And they're outside of the warranty.
And so